I think very early days, like my father wanted me to play cricket. He was a wicket-keeper batsman too. So that is where the dream actually started from. Later, I can say later because I started playing cricket when I was in class first. So I started very early, but in fifth class, I don't know what happened to me. I just went to my father and just told him that I want to play cricket professionally at fifth standard, and that is where I accepted that I'm going to play all the sport, but this is one sport I'm going to play professionally.
Absolutely, and I think all of us want to follow in our father's footsteps, and it's wonderful to hear that that's where that first started from. So would you say he's the one who's had the biggest influence in your life, or has it been your mom?
I think very early on, I think parents definitely plays a huge part. I think it might not be right just to point out only my father or just my mother, because you know when your parents are there, they're always backing you no matter what you do. And coming from a small town, we used to have a small school there. So a lot of people used to tell my father, Master ji, कहाँ क्रिकेट खिला रहे हो? अपने लड़के को थोड़ा पढ़ा भी लो. And my father used to tell me, कोई नहीं है, this all will take care of itself. You just focus on playing cricket, and that's what I did. So I think my father's side was always there. Later on, my mother became more and more important in my life because I lost my father when I was 18. So the bond became stronger and stronger, and I just grew from there strength to strength.
Absolutely, and I think I totally echo the thought. If you have your parents backing, I mean, you can climb mountains. Absolutely. So in December 22, you survived a near-fatal car accident, right? But through sheer willpower, discipline, and an unbreakable spirit, you have fought your way back to the game. So after your accident, what was the toughest phase of recovery, and what pushed you through it?
I think just to pinpoint one phase is difficult for me because every part of that injury was like hardest part for me, because you know as a kid I've been playing cricket in and out, day in, day out, and just seeing me so immobile in my life, like I'm someone who is used to do everything by myself, and that's how I grew up. And now just even like small thing, brushing my own teeth was harder for my life. Like I just couldn't do it for like first 1 month at least. So I feel that part was where I understood that I have to accept that I can't move on from this in 1 day or two. Like I have to accept this, that it is going to stay for at least a year or two. That was the idea. That is where I calmed myself down and just realized that there is no point being negative and criticizing yourself every day, because this is a long injury. If you can keep your headspace in a good way, and you have to find your own ways. Like for me, it might be eating food, but for someone, it might be talking to someone. So you have to find your own way. I think one advice which really helped me was Ashish Nehra. I think he is a senior from the club also. He just came to me, saw me, and he told me I had lots of injuries. Just one thing if you can do is keep yourself happy. Do things what makes you feel happy and keep following that. And I think that advice really stood with me and really helped me to go through my injury.
Absolutely. I think it's, you know, in the darkest of times, it's important to stay happy, because that's what kind of keeps you motivated to keep doing more. So tell me, you know, you've played cricket before, you're playing cricket after the injury. How has your perspective on cricket changed post-injury? And how has your perspective on life changed post the accident?
I think, like you said, once your perspective to life change, I think the perspective to sports definitely change. Because how you see life, eventually it will follow. That's the idea I feel. Because I feel one thing what happened with me, like we are so caught up in day-to-day life, thinking we wanna have more and more. We don't appreciate what we have. Like I think we should take a time and appreciate sometimes that what we have in life. and that is something accident taught me. Like, simple things like waking up every day, brushing your own teeth, walking towards your washroom, like small things, but it plays huge part. And as day-to-day life, we take it for granted. I think that's my learning from it, like, because we feel it's very normal, but a lot of people are suffering and they just can't do it by themselves. And that is where you realize that this is something you are blessed with, and look at the brighter side always. And that is something which really helped me get through my tough time during my accident, because I could be sitting in a place where I had no help, nothing, but God has been kind enough to offer me that help, that I can afford myself a life where the help was there, the people around me really stood by me, and that is luxury to have in life, and I really appreciate that. So appreciation of everything around me became more, and just taking day-to-day life, being happy is really important, because I feel, yes, you want to be successful each and every day, but a lot of time in sport it might not happen. But that doesn't mean you're gonna beat around the bush and put you down always. You have to have a mindset where you push yourself. Yes, I can be better. But what's question is there? Am I giving my 100% or 200%? I always say. And if you're giving your 200% each and every day, take the result however it is, and just try to be your best version in the next day.
And I think that's wonderful. I think some very important leadership lessons right there, right? From making sure you're giving your best to how can you push yourself to be a better version of yourself. And most importantly, to practice gratitude and to be grateful. And I think very rightly, as Rishabh pointed out, there are everyday things that we take for granted. But when you go through an injury like he did, that's when you realize how important is even something as simple as, like he said, walking to the bathroom, right? And when you can't do that, that really makes you question a lot of things. So now let's move to Rishabh Pant, the cricketer, the wicket-keeper, the captain. You've led teams under pressure. So how do you approach decision-making under pressure?
We feel it's like part of the process, and something we always talked about, like we should be following a certain process, and that is part of my life, day-to-day life. Like when you keep it very simple, like if you are watching a wicket, how it's gonna play, what this batsman is going to do, what we can execute in a better way. I think these are the questions which you keep on thinking about the game all the time, and just following the same process and following your instinct. I always say that follow your instinct, because you practice each and every day so much, so your instinct take over during the game. And I'm someone who let that instinct take over it during the game time, because in pressure situation what happens, you don't back your decision, sometimes you don't back your instinct. So I feel that is really important for me, especially in pressure situation, because that is where your instinct is going to help you a lot. So just back your instinct, back your processes, and trust myself.
But tell me, when you're in a pressure situation, right, as much as you want to back your instinct, there is the heart, there is the gut, and there is the mind, right? So how do you kind of keep all in balance and still go ahead and take that right call or right decision?
Well, it's easier to say like keeping everything in balance, but in life you don't get that balance always. Okay, accept it or not, but that's at least I'm telling from my point of view that you don't get that balance always, but you are trying to do what's best for your team, putting your needs behind everything, what's best for the team, what's best for the players, and eventually when you make a decision, see, sometimes it's going to work out, sometimes it might not, but you have to live with both the consequences and have that trust that this was the decision I took in the best interest of the team, and just back it.
Talking of team, what does the word team mean to you, both on the field and off the field?
Word team means just one family. We talk about always how we can create an environment where everyone feels comfortable. And team for me is like having a one goal, collective people having one goal and working towards one goal. That's team for me. And how you can create that, that's the environment and trust you're going to do that.
Again, I think a very important leadership lesson right there on what a team is and how we can apply that to each of our businesses here, which is really looking at how do you create it as one family to make everyone comfortable so that they can give their best. Because it is the collective power of a team that determines whether you as a business will succeed or not. So thank you, I think absolutely, I think very, very relevant for us. So as a leader of the field, or let me change that. Let me say, as a leader on the field, what's the biggest leadership lesson that playing cricket has taught you?
Playing cricket taught me to have like sometimes result might not go to you way, okay, and I feel you gotta accept it, and sometimes you have to back it also, like helping each other because everyone on the field will not have the greatest of day. But at that moment, can you give that guy enough confidence so he can deliver? One ball matters, one extraordinary stumping, one extraordinary catch, one extraordinary run out. Because if you are playing a T20 match, so you gotta be on the field for 120 balls. So each and every ball plays a part most of the time, yeah, until the match is finished very early. So generalize. So if you can have that impact, for that to have an impact, because early it can happen that first few overs you might not have a great time. But if you are in the contest and you are having enough belief, enough trust, you can still come back. And that is what cricket has taught me a lot, that never give up, fight till the last ball. You can change the things around.
Again, another leadership lesson, never give up.